Right, before we get started today, let's give a big shout out to the sponsors of the True Geordie YouTube channel, Young LA. Don't forget, you can get something for every occasion on Young LA's website. I mean, literally, if you go into the gym, you're going out, there's all sorts on the Young LA website. For example, I'm thinking about picking up this t-shirt because I think it's class. If you want to get anything on the Young LA website, click the link in the description below. Use code TRUE for 15% off. Welcome back to the kickoff. We have a packed episode for you lot today with our Premier League predictions, lads. This time last year, we were all sitting there terrified of Liverpool creating a dynasty. Didn't happen. And I'm wondering what else isn't going to happen and what we are expecting in this video, boys. 9 teams got Europe last season, which is going to change a lot. You've got Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle out of Europe. You've got big players moving from clubs. Bruno, Morgan Rogers, Elliot Anderson. 9 new managers so far in the Premier League. So much has changed. And what we're going to do with the kind of the big six is I'm just kind of going to go one club at a time and what we all think is going to happen. I want to start with Spurs. So much has happened. They've got new manager kind of at the end of last season. He had a few games, but this is a whole new squad in terms of the amount of money they spend. They finished 17th last season. How high can they climb? I'm going to start with Jacob since you probably hate Spurs. What are you thinking, mate?
Matt, so I'm going as positive as I can go. I think Spurs will go 7th. And listen, I'm seeing a lot of people go higher than that. I'm seeing people talk Champions League football. Please, can we try and remember they finished 17th twice in a row. They've been in 2 relegation battles. Their front 3, I would assume right now, is Matis Tel, Richarlison, and Kudus, I guess.
Kudus is injured. He's still injured.
They're expected to sign the lad from Man City, though, right?
Savinho.
We've been saying that for years, though.
Difference.
Yeah, even if they do.
Wow.
So I'm 7th.
Anyone going higher than 7th?
I think Spurs are going to have a really good year this year, unfortunately. I think they're going to finish 4th. And the reason why, I think the defence will make a big difference. I think they will be solid at the back. I think that manager as well, he is a very good manager. By the way, he's the highest paid manager in the Premier League now.
Fucking hell. What about that centre midfield though, lads? Is that not a game changer?
That's the battle.
Tonali
that see. Tonali, even I'm looking forward to the North London derby more than anything. Bruno versus Tonali, 2 Geordies that like gave up on their clubs. It's going to be brilliant just to watch.
Fucking hell.
Two Geordies who are so Geordie they live in North London now.
Yeah.
Tonali literally was never a Geordie. Like, at least Bruno pretended. Tonali was like, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. All right, I've got 7th as well.
7th as well.
Is it four of us are going 7th. Josh has gone 4th. Interesting.
You got to remember the lack of Europe will make a huge difference as well for Spurs.
Well, one club I think that
and you got to remember De Zerbi as well. I just want to throw De Zerbi into the mix because he is a bit of a weird guy. You know, he has, he's one of those guys that got kind of Conteism about him where he could just crash out because he might not like the way the team's played. He might not like what he's seen in a game I think if they can look after his personality or how he reacts, because he's up and down. You can't really trust him.
They've tried to back him, though. Like, this is the one thing. Like, they're offering a mad amount of money for the City winger. They've also initially they were going for, was it Krupi before he
Krupi Jr.
got injured? Yeah. Like, they're clearly planning on spending a bit more money and to try and bolster this attack. And they wouldn't be trying to sell Richarlison if they thought this was what they were going to be with at the end of the window. And I think De Zerbi has clearly had pull. Like, they've spoken. A lot of the players who've signed for him have gone, he was one of the difference makers. So I do respect him. I just think it's hard to predict anything higher for Spurs because it's been 17. We need a bit more data to see what they're about, but the no Champions League, no European football is a big help. Aston Villa, on the other hand, they have been consistently top 6 now for a while. The manager's tried and tested, the team's tried and tested, but they have lost big players in Rodgers and Tielemans. And yes, they have signed some exciting players like Manzambi, who I really like the look of. But what are you thinking, lads? Is anyone picking them to be in the top 4, top 5?
I am. I'm going 5th for Aston Villa. I think that Aston Villa, look, especially with the rotation of managers in this Premier League now, you can't deny that they have got one of the most stable and high-performing managers out of anyone in the league right now. I think that the Unai Emery effect is something that is very much going to be a factor here. And I think that although they've lost players like Morgan Rogers, as you say, Manzambi is going to be a big one that they have brought in. Majo is going to be a decent one that they've brought in. I think that obviously, when you look at the money they brought in for Morgan Rogers, that hasn't been fully reinvested or even half reinvested at this point yet. And I think that will be something that
they're talking to Paulinho from Bayern Munich.
Yeah, that'd be a really solid signing.
Good
Also,
signing
they've got
for
João Gomez in there. He's a very Unai Emery player that I think he'll utilise quite a lot. So I think that they're making sensible signings. The one outlier, maybe Garnacho, but at the same time, as saying that, a lot of people said that about Rashford. I'm not comparing the two, but a lot of people said that about Rashford. He had a good start there. I honestly think that there won't be a fall off from Aston Villa. I think they'll surprise a lot of people who are expecting there to be.
Outlier, Garnacho, Joey. Did you watch him last season? Honestly, what is he talking about? Joey and I was sat on podcasts saying he's the worst player that he's ever seen at Chelsea Football Club, and he's going, they're an outlier, they might be good. Guys,
no,
look at their
he's
team.
an outlier compared to the other recruitment they've done, you
They've got John McGinn, right wing. They've got no Watkins. They've got no Rodgers. They're selling their goalkeeper, who's been exceptional for a very long time. They're bringing a new goalkeeper in.
Suzuki's not bad.
They're going to have... Yeah, okay. He's going to be good. He looks good at the World Cup. Do we know how good he's going to be in the Premier League? No, we don't know that. Obviously, the manager is a very good manager.
They're also selling a centre-back, right? As an Arsenal after their centre-back?
Huge fall-off.
That's the big
huge
one.
Fall-off.
If they sell Konsa, I would go as low as 8th.
I really feel sorry for Villa. I mean, look, me and the Villa fans, we've got something in common that we're all getting fucked by your clubs, basically, and that we can't spend our owners' money, despite the ability for Man United and Chelsea to go into £1 billion worth of debt and no one bat an eyelid. Just got to drop that in. And I do feel sorry for Villa because Unai Emery is one of the most consistent managers. Like what he's been able to do, spending like 50 million or something like that over the last 5 years net spend is insane. I actually think if he was allowed to spend, even just reasonably, God only knows what Villa would have been able to achieve. And I've got them 6th personally because I think with Champions League, I just think it's so much to ask when you're getting your best players stolen from you like this.
We did kind of think that last season. I know they didn't have their best players stolen, but last season we thought, with the addition of Champions League, are they able to maintain the high standards that they set for themselves? And ultimately they did. I back him to be able to do it again.
They won a European Cup. You're always seeing progression from this team. Maybe it might be a step too far, as Jacob's saying. If they lose Konsa, that's a big loss. They keep having these massive losses, but the train stays on the track. So the only thing I could see different is if he gets bought to another team. If someone goes for Emery and he doesn't see out his time there.
Let's just quickly round up on Villa. I'm going 6th. Anyone going higher?
Yep. I've got him in 5th.
5th, 4th. KJ?
I've got 6.
Josh?
I'm going 7th.
Right. So roughly in similar areas there. Liverpool, lads. What are you saying about Liverpool? It's a new... I
have to be first. I have to be first and say this. I got to get this off my chest because they've had the shittest window out of everyone. They got Salah. They forced him out of the club. Let's really talk about what's happened at Liverpool. Liverpool knew they wanted Salah gone. Yeah. Where is the replacement? The fact of the matter is their director of football, he wants out as well. This has been disgusting. If you talk about how a Liverpool team, they got excited. They wanted to flash the cash last season. They bought in Isak, bought in Florian Wirtz, and now they're looking at their back four. They've gone and got some injured centre-back, Araujo. They've got him. They've got issues all over. Right backs are still a problem. I think they've got problems in everywhere, but they splash the cash so much that it's imbalanced.
What if they get Barcola? What if Barcola comes?
Can I talk on that? I find that mad. Why are they looking for another right-footed guy who wants to play off the left? When Rio plays there, Isak drifts there, Ekitike drifts there, they've still got Gakpo, who they all hate, but has been their most effective attacker over the last 2 years. If I was Liverpool,
they signed Munoz, remember, the Spanish kid. He's a left-sider who comes in as well.
So why would they... I don't get why they're not going for Endrick. Endrick, who spent last season at Lyon, at Real Madrid, hasn't got a place in that team when they've just bought Diomande. Left footer, comes off the right. That makes all the sense in the world to me. Instead, they're going to throw 130 million quid at Barcola, who's basically the same as what they've got. KG, you're talking about the sporting director leaving. I'd be booking him a cab to the fucking airport if I was a Liverpool fan, because it makes no sense what they're doing.
What about like, let's just play devil's advocate. They obviously did spend a whole bunch of money in the previous window, and sometimes players take a year. Isak, Wirtz, Ekitike to come back later this year. What if they click? What if that works?
Well, if I play devil's advocate again, I have to say, what about Virgil and him doing the aura defending? Even if we want to take the liberties, we do know that he's just not the same. He can't defend in the same manner. And if they do get an injury, you're already seeing the Joe Gomez thing. They need these new guys to work well. Lacroix, they were supposed to go get him. They didn't. You know,
I think the biggest mistake with Virgil, lads, just a bit on Virgil, it's the amount of games they're asking him to play. He's 35. Like, if you managed him, I'm sure he could still be at a better level than he showed last season, but it's the fact that they're expecting too much of a bloke at his age, and I don't think it's reasonable.
If he gets injured, the combination of starting Jeremy Jacquet and Araujo, that's dangerous. It's completely unproven in the Premier League, and that's to say that both of them are going to be there fit. I think that you look at Liverpool and you go, well, they're massively top heavy, but what I was thinking is they have been top heavy in seasons gone by and they competed for the title. So I don't want to put them anywhere
Iraola, though. What about Iraola? Like, we all were, I mean, that was one of a hell of a season from him last season for Bournemouth. And even when they knew he was going, they just kept performing. And the standards he sets on these players, I think it might take a while for it all to click together, because apparently it's really physically demanding on the training ground. But surely we think that that's a good signing for them?
Yeah, Iraola's good, but then let's talk about the amount of draws that he had last season as well. And they've been in winning positions, and aerially, it's defensively. That's where all the issues are going to come. And we still know that in this league, you're still dealing with the corners, set pieces, big part of the game, where I think Liverpool, that's where they'll be up in games. You can imagine Isak doing well, but I can imagine them conceding a lot of goals next season. So yeah,
let's pick where we're going to have them finish, lads. I'll start with Joey.
I'm going to go 4th for Liverpool.
KJ, you've already said 5th. Jacob,
I'm going 2nd. I think Isak's going to have a really big second season.
Wow.
I really like that French defender, Jeremy Jacquet. So yeah, I'm going 2nd. Josh,
I'm going 5th.
I'm also going 5th. So I think 5th was the most selected there, but it'll be my thing, a lot of it was just, have they got enough of a squad? I looked at their team in a recent game and I was like, this is 4 competitions you're competing on here. It's not the first team that I'm worried about. It's just, can they maintain when injuries happen? Let's move on to Chelsea. 2 Chelsea boys here. I'm really interested to know what the fuck yous are expecting from this season, boys. Joey, I'm going to start with you.
That's good. You started with him.
So the positive. What are you thinking for position and just the Alonso effect? What are you seeing here?
I think the Alonso effect is already starting to take place from what I've seen in pre-season. A lot of people don't rate pre-season, I understand that. But I think that if we hadn't have had the recruitment that we've had and we hadn't have actually backed a manager in the way that, okay, there might be a system change, which I think is very obvious is now going to happen, and then we hadn't have recruited for that specific change, maybe I'd be less confident. But for the first time under this ownership, and it doesn't, deflect of all the bad they've done, they have got a top level manager in. They've backed that manager. And when you look at what he's done in the past, I don't really read into the time at Real Madrid. If you do want to read into it, maybe read the win percentage, and then you'll see that he didn't even have a bad time at Real Madrid. It was probably more personality clashes of star players. But if you look at what he did at Bayer Leverkusen, I mean, why am I going to say that he can't dethrone Arsenal when the fella dethroned Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga? I think Chelsea are in one of these positions this season where the obvious team that everyone is going to go for at the top of the league, and people think I'm mental saying this game from 10th to even top 4 at a time, but the obvious team to go for is obviously Arsenal. But you've always got to say, well, if Arsenal don't win it, and you haven't got to go, oh, well, that's such a stretch. Well, everyone thought Liverpool were going to win it last season, and they didn't come anywhere near it. So if Arsenal don't win it, then I think that Chelsea have got as good a chance as anyone if things go well and fall into place. And I think that the fact that we haven't got European football means that you can treat every match a bit more like a cup final. You can prepare specifically for teams a lot more in the training ground. And we've seen in the numbers, if you haven't got European football, the likelihood of your injuries adding up is going to be significantly less than if you were fighting on all fronts.
All right. So very positive. Surprise. Estevao, Rogers, Palmer, João Pedro, very good players there. But we're also hearing that Enzo could still go. Man City definitely haven't given up on that. We've got Pedro Neto potentially also going out the door. I'm disgusted that my Saudi brothers may be coughing up far too much money when they could have Joe Linton for half the price. Thank you very much. But I'm going to go to Josh now, without giving the position away immediately. Are you as positive as Joey? Do you see where he's coming from? Or are you thinking that it's going to be not a title challenge?
I think, to be honest with you, you can't help but be more positive this summer after the acquisition of Xabi Alonso, making him a manager and actually giving him some sort of say in the transfer policy as well, which he's obviously had, bearing in mind we've signed, a 28-year-old left back. We've signed experience throughout the pitch. We've got Welbeck in the team now, which, we would have never even considered. Big Jordan Henderson, who Joey thinks is going to start a lot more than we perhaps might think. So I think with that, we will have a different atmosphere at the club. And I think a lot of our problems last season were mentality issues as opposed to, necessarily a quality problem. So I'm more positive. I'm perhaps a little bit less positive than Joey.
All right, then. Jacob, you usually smash Chelsea. I remember last season you went, there's not enough goals in the side. You was very clear about that. And I think you were proven right.
Ironic coming from an Arsenal fan with their front three. That's all I'll say.
Are you feeling any?
Three that won a title while you were in 10th, Chelsea.
I just was waiting for that. That works.
Are you feeling differently now that they've got Morgan Rogers and there's a bit more firepower up there?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best front threes in the league now, isn't it?
Wow.
And especially the way it fits together. I thought João Pedro was maybe the best striker who moved last summer. I thought he was absolutely sensational for Chelsea. Very jealous. And I think those two spots that Palmer and Rogers are going to occupy behind him, not quite on the wing, not quite a focal point as a 10, somewhere in between, it's perfect for them both. I've still got questions over the keeper. I can't believe they're not looking at Emi Martinez now that his move to Juventus has broke down. I like a couple of the defenders. I really like Marco Palestra. I think you could still do with one more. And if Enzo's going to go, I wonder if they buy one more centre mid. Xabi Alonso's always loved Martin Zubimendi. I think he could leave Arsenal, and I'd be really interested if they do that deal, because him and Caicedo next to each other would be a lovely midfield. But this is a tough thing about doing our predictions in mid-August, because there's still a lot of the transfer window to go, and I still think Chelsea have business they want to do. Do you want my prediction of where they finish?
I'll start with KJ for the prediction, because he hasn't said anything yet. Where are you going and why? What spot you got Chelsea in?
I got Chelsea in third place. I think the main thing about Chelsea is that not having one game a week is brilliant. And someone like Xabi Alonso, he's now working with a team that want to listen to him. He's going to get the best out of him. I think the players are in awe of him as well. He's a great. That's the bottom line of it. So they're going to run through brick walls for him. I just feel like they're still going to make mistakes at the back. I think they'll be there. There'll be times when we talk about Chelsea really being in a title race. I don't know if they'll have enough to complete the mission. But, they
started really well last season, to be fair, didn't they, lads? I mean, they did start well. So, so you've gone third place. Joey, what are you saying?
Numero uno.
No way! Fuck off! Are you serious?
Listen, right? You said about us starting well last season. By the start of December, people genuinely thought, maybe optimistic fans like myself, that we were in a title race, right? I see us being in a similar position this season. I think that we could win 8 out of our first 10 games when you look at our fixtures. And obviously it won't always go like that. But when that period comes at Christmas, when it gets thick and fast for everyone, when everyone starts having to rely on more options, I'm hopeful that the stars can align. We've got less injuries than other teams. We've got more time to prepare for games. And therefore, I think that Xabi Alonso can recreate something he did in Germany.
This will be some shout, Jacob, what are you saying?
I'm with KG. I'm going third. I think that's an incredible season, by the way. To jump from 10th to 3rd would be job well done for Xabi Alonso. But I think 3rd.
Josh?
I think we'll be best of the rest. I think there'll be a gap between 2nd and 1st. So I think we'll be 2nd.
Wow, interesting. I have gone 4th for Chelsea. I think there's just a few unknowns for me that have kept them just shy of being right up there, but still a good season in my opinion. And still, that would be Chelsea as back after a mid-table finish.
Can I just say, my guess does not hinge on Enzo Fernandez staying or leaving, by the way. If he leaves, look, I look at Reece James. I think all of us here would agree that Reece James is probably one of the best players that Chelsea have produced in a long, long time. I don't think his story ended with that European trophy in 2021. I think that there's another chapter in there.
Well, he's definitely not dead. That's for sure.
Yeah. Central midfield, Reece James brings it home.
All right. Manchester United. This is Manchester United we're talking about here.
Manchester United we're talking about
Carrick, obviously second season, big pressure because there's a lot more games coming at him. Bruno Fernandes turns 32. Can he continue with all those extra games at that age to keep dragging them across the line in big games like that? And can Carrick keep the momentum going when the summer hasn't been as sexy as they were hoping for? And actually, Carrick at Borough in his previous job, it did get generally worse each season after that. Not putting any negativity out there for KG. Sorry, mate.
It's all right. Because I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling really good.
Well, you tell us how good you're feeling and why you're feeling so good.
I'm feeling that Man United are going to finish second this season. Reason why is I like the style of football we're playing. I like the fact some of the signings.
Did you like that Milan game? Did you?
It was horrible, but I feel like we built it up. I feel we made it worse. We made the situation we're talking about.
Is that what Amarim? You tried too hard.
No, just done too much, and it was that same thing that we're dealing with. We can't manage 2 games a week. We can't. So you're going to be the.
Do you understand how the season
works?
No,
but I'm saying we will. But I'm hoping that we start to buy some players. I don't think that we're going to end the window like the way the window's ended.
It's not that much time left.
Have you accepted Luke Shaw's not coming yet? Are you over that yet? Because I'm sick of seeing this kid stuck in face in your thumbnails.
Lewis Hall,
just let go of it.
No, we need to let go. We need to let go of it. It's ridiculous. Like, Man United have let themselves down in the window, but are we playing is the brand of football good? Have we made smart? Santos is a good signing. Tielemans is a good signing. I only say that we could finish second because I don't actually rate the rest of the league. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think like everyone else is good. I'm looking at who's going to be then the next.
Can I ask you then? Let me ask you. That centre midfield, I think, was clearly a priority. Lost Casemiro and Mason Mount is a complete write-off of a footballer. So
great player.
I think the 2 players you've signed are good, but then it's like them 2 and Kobbie Mainoo, and like when you have Champions League and you have all these games coming, someone is getting injured out of there, and it's like, well, then what do you do? Do you know what I mean?
What we're talking about is the Champions League doesn't start till later. So those issues and stuff, they're not going to be major ones at the beginning. I think we have a nice run at the beginning of the season that could probably give us some impetus and make us feel good about stuff. And one thing about Carrick is he is a winning manager. He gets results. You can say, even if you don't like the way that how we're going about the results, I think we've got goal scorers in the team.
He's got one season of getting good results, though. That's it, isn't it? There's not much data to prove that he can do it in the long term. And I'm not disagreeing. I actually think he's done really well. But I do think that this is really... We've seen this from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, mate.
Well, we have no, but in that time under Ole, you would say we probably had less players that could do it themselves. You know, Cunha can get you a goal from nowhere. You know, Mbeumo, if we get Mbeumo firing how he was for Brentford or how he started at Man United, I think he gets us goals. Now you added Marcus Rashford to it as well, which is another piece where you say, you know, Marcus Rashford, especially now trying to prove something or trying to ingratiate himself to the Man United fans again, I think there's goals in our team. That's why I'm feeling a bit more confident. And I'm just saying the quality of everyone else is as to why I'm saying that I think we should be thereabouts.
Do you think Rashford stays, KG?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no one's going to fucking pay 300 grand a week. That's what it is, mate. Like, they're trying to make this out like it's some sort of like Rashford doesn't want to go. No, Rashford absolutely has made it abundantly clear he does not want to play for Manchester United. But because no one else is dumb enough to give him a contract like that, it's a case of let's just make the best of a bad situation. I think.
No, I think there's probably a couple Premier League teams that have probably tried. The only one I will say I'm really worried about is Arsenal. Like when the Vinny thing broke down, I was like, shit. If Arsenal go in for Rashford, he'd love to play there probably. I could imagine him wanting to be at Arsenal.
I think we might.
Anyone disagree with KG's optimism? Anyone thinking that Man United are going to drop? What are you saying, Jacob?
I got them 6th.
Wow.
I saw a graphic go around the other day of what a likely Manchester United defence looks like with Diogo Dalot, with Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. And I was
like 4 years out of date, that, isn't it?
Well, that's what they said. They were like, it's been like this for 4.5 years. And I don't think...
Can Euro step up? Can Euro maybe step up?
I think he's a really good player, Euro, but like... I don't think they've got enough protecting that defence in front of them. I really like Tielemans as a player, but he hasn't got the legs, and Carrick's football is quite open. Santos, I think, is a good signing, but when you compare them to the rest of the league, like you compare them to Chelsea, and I was the one last year who was like, I think United are better than Chelsea. I flip that now. I look at the quality Chelsea have in attack. I just think Rodgers, Palmer, Pedro, they're much better players.
Escobar as well.
I like Sesko. I like him, KG. I like him, KG, but he's got a lot of injuries. Like he had a decent period out last year. If he stays fit, I think he's a brilliant player. But if he doesn't, who have you got behind him? Like Xerxes? Do you put Cunha up there?
They haven't got a second striker. Mbeumo's not a striker, in my opinion. He's a right winger.
Even Brazil played Cunha for in the 90s.
Yeah, but KG, I think it's fine to, if you've got Harry Kane or Haaland, it's fine to have Mbeumo or Cunha backing them up. But when it's a young player like Sesko who's had injuries, I don't see enough certainty there. When I look at your team, I'm like, who's going to definitely get 15 goals? Probably Mbeumo. Is there another one? I don't think there is.
You know, I think Rashford's got 15 goals in him.
I don't know if he's going to be there.
I think Rashford's going to be there. I think Ahmad didn't score enough goals last season. He will.
Ahmad dropped off a cliff last season.
Ahmad was terrible last season. Went to AFCON and we didn't see him again. So I feel like the players that you say would bring the goals, we're going to get them now. Even Casemiro, what was good at last season is Casemiro scoring loads of headers for us. So he was good for us in set pieces, but then the spaces were massive. Now you put in Santos in there. I do think that we're going to be, I think there's a bit more about us in the midfield.
All right. I need to push to Joey and Josh. Lads, Joey, what do you think of Man United's position next season?
I think that they're going to finish in 6th. At the same time of saying that, I was mentioning my own predictions that I think there might be a couple of wins that separate 6th and 3rd. So I think it will still be quite tight. And them finishing in 6th wouldn't be a reflection for me that they don't have good moments in their season. They don't at times look like things are going to go well. But I do worry about the depth in certain areas like number 9, like in defence. And I also think the expectations were massively low on Michael Carrick when he came in. It's not like you'd plucked a former ex-player who had been doing an unbelievable job. You know, he hadn't even been doing as good a job as Frank Lampard at the time, and no one would have been raving from the rooftops about him. And also, he had no European football. So I think they will struggle more this season, but I actually think that it might be quite tight in there. So they might have had a lot of good moments in that season, but still come 6th.
Josh?
I think there's a strong chance that Carrick is the manager by the start of next season.
Whoa, fucking from the top rope, son.
Yeah, so I just think, look, he's done very well so far, but I think he will be found out this season. I think more teams will go to, Old Trafford and feel like they can get a result. And I think the level of games, the difference. We were talking about, the lowest amount of games for Man United since a war period. So,
Jesus,
but we were good in the big games though. We didn't get.
You were good in the big games because you didn't have anything else. The Champions League, the European football will make a huge difference this season. You'll be playing more games than you have. You have a wonderful starting 11, but beyond that, you're not going to have the depth that you need. It's nothing against the quality of that first 11.
I'm not even taking a piss, but if you actually look at the way we play, if other teams have the ball, we prefer it. We actually want to play on counter-attack. So in the big games, it suits us. That's why you see Michael Carrick's win ratio in them bigger games. You're not surprised by it. We want to play that type of football.
That involves a lot of running, and it's harder to do that running, as Eddie Howe found out multiple times, when you have to play multiple games a week. That's the real proof is in the pudding. So you said 6th as well, Josh, did you?
Yeah, 6 as well.
He said second. We can't sack him.
I know, second as well. I love it. I'm going to go 3rd for Man United. I think there's a couple of worries. I think when you're taking over from a manager who everyone hates, they want to prove that it was the manager and not them. And now the motivation is going to be different, in my opinion. And I just think that that's the real challenge for Carrick as a man motivator. One player who I'm really excited to watch this season, if he can't stay fit, is Sesko. I really wanted him for Newcastle, and I think he has all the makings to be an absolute top striker. And I think if you can keep him fit, he could be the difference. If between, as Joey pointed out, 6th and 3rd, I'm going to bet on him. I think he's going to have a good season. I was going to say Man United finished 3rd. Manchester City. This is a really interesting one because the heart really, in many ways, has been ripped out of that team, even though there's so many good footballers there. But Pep Guardiola and Rodri,
insane,
arguably the best manager and the best midfielder in the world, arguably leaving the club in one summer, and they're taking risks in who they've brought in. How do you think this is gonna go for them? Anyone expecting a big drop off?
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
And you've left out a player in Bernardo Silva as well.
Yeah.
I think
huge player.
What he does, and he's a points collector. He can get you that 3 points. Him not being there's too many people gone. You don't just get to bring in another bald guy and think it's business as usual. Doesn't work like that. That's the truth of it. That's the
Brian's in the
disciple, all right.
Brian's in the queue.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I'm ready. Although Newcastle might need a fucking starting fucking centre midfielder, so I don't know which way I'll be going. But they are allegedly bringing in Enzo. They've got the lad who shined in the World Cup coming in as well.
Yeah.
Instead of loaning him out straight away, though.
No, they're not. They've confirmed yesterday.
You cannot. A 19-year-old kid from France can't replace Rodri. Even Elliot Anderson can't replace Rodri. They finished on, I think it was 78 points last season. Pep alone, for me, that I'd say a conservative guess, that's a 6-point drop. Rodri, I'd say that's at least another 6. I reckon they finished mid 60 points, and I think that could be 4th or 5th. I honestly. Oh. You can't that's the best midfielder in the world. Let's be really honest with ourselves now. He's won a Ballon d'Or. He's just won the world. He's the best midfielder in the world. You cannot replace what they're losing. I think the Bernardo shout is a massive one. If you're talking about leaders in the dressing room, he was huge last season. That's another one. Stones out. I don't know how you Chelsea guys feel about Maresca. I'm not. For me, he's a fluffer. He's going to be there a year, 18 months, and it's going to be Vincent Kompany coming in. He's your little, he takes the bullet. It's basically what Emery did between Wenger and Arteta.
Do you think he may not make it to the end of the season?
Yeah, honestly, I think he could get sacked. Mate, did you watch it? I know it's the Community Shield. I know it's a glorified friendly. I mean, it's in fucking Wales because the weekend was playing at Wembley. But, they looked awful. I honestly think the headline from that game wasn't how good Arsenal look, it's how bad they look.
There you go.
I think they're fucked.
Chelsea boys, are you disagreeing? Because you've watched Enzo Maresca. Is there any faith that Man City fans should have in him or not?
No, I think he's rigid. I think that he might get some better sort of individual performances out of certain players, but it will be worse as a collective. I don't think he's got the know-how that Pep's got. And what a lot of people are talking about is the loss of Pep. Well, Pep wasn't even good enough last season because Pep in seasons gone by would not have had it in Man City's hands mathematically twice, I think, and I'm not on about early stages of the season. Do you remember they got it where they had the games in hand, which they always seem to have, where they had the games in hand on 2 separate occasions. One of them was including a game against Arsenal, and one of them was just win the games in hand, and twice they came up short. So you then take key players away from that team. You then create instability by bringing a new manager in that does play a different style of football. It's not like some teams where you could look at Bournemouth, for example, and the guy they've brought in pretty much plays the same as Iraola was playing with them. It's not like that. There'll be a transition, and I don't think that Maresca's going to be able to do what they would want from him in this first season.
I think there's another breakdown as well. Sorry, just want to mention like Guehi, Semenyo, these players in the title race, they lost it. They made mistakes. Guehi especially as well. He was one. So now you're talking about, well, who's been there and done it? Who's been to the mountaintop? And who's going to get us when we're having these shaky games, or it's Super Sunday? Are you going to get us through this game? And I don't believe
it's not
they
Foden.
have it. Definitely not Foden. So
God,
now you're
Foden's
wondering,
died of death, bless him, hasn't he? Fucking hell.
I think Haaland goes next summer. I think he'll leave next summer.
Real Madrid.
Wow.
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
He is the world's most marketable footballer, along with Jude Bellingham after that World Cup. He became such a face of football. It was unbelievable. He is the face of the Premier League now, in my opinion. But we do have to put one next on the line here. KG, where have you got Man City finishing?
4th.
So 2 spots under Manchester United. And just bear in mind, the reason he says people have let them down last season. But Man United, no one lets them down, apparently. Right.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
All right. Joey, what are you saying?
I've still got them in 3rd. I think they'll finish 3rd, but I think there'll be a significant drop-off.
Jacob?
5th.
Josh?
I've gone for 3rd. I think they've got enough quality in there to keep them there, but they're going to have a fall off for sure.
See, I think I've gone the highest. I've gone 2nd because in my mind, I'm watching Maresca as closely as the Chelsea boys have, but I just think that squad is still so ridiculously good to not, finish in the top 2 would be a real underachievement, in my opinion. That squad is, when you've got Erling Haaland, he's a fucking cheat code. So there is no excuses.
A lot of pressure for Elliot Anderson, though. A lot of pressure for that new midfield.
But this is it. They're spending over 350 fucking million on 3 midfielders by the looks of it.
Anyone to think they got no charges?
I know, right?
Imagine that, though. Imagine if Jacob's right, they finish on the mid-60s and then they get a 30-point deduction, which could happen.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Let's move on to Arsenal. Arsenal, obviously the title favourites, especially after a hell of a win against Manchester City. They have made some small changes, but they are still looking to bring players in. Is anyone not got them winning the title? I mean, obviously, Joey saying they're not going to win the title. What is it about Arsenal that makes you think, Chelsea can capitalise next season?
I'm just clutching at straws, basically. But I would say the Saliba back injury, we don't know whether or not, Jacob might know, we don't know whether or not that might require surgery. I think it's a reoccurring injury, isn't it? Gyökeres is the main thing I would say there. I know that, listen, Jacob countered Josh's point by saying, well, that front three won the title. I very much get that. But I don't rate him as a leading number 9. So I think that the goals are going to have to come from other areas if they're relying on him the way that City would rely on Haaland. I actually think, by the way, that Havertz would displace him.
Just to add to that, if there is an explanation as to why Arsenal lose the league next season, I feel like there's a couple of things that will be said if it does happen. It will be the motivation of having to go back to back. It's really hard, as Liverpool have shown, when you win a title to have that same burning desire. I know Arteta's going to have it. That guy's a fucking lunatic. But will his players be able to keep delivering when we've seen the state of Declan Rice? We've seen what's happening to Saliba. There's players there that are burning out. There's players Trossard's left who digged them out of a few games. It's going to be really hard to do a double, even though they're the favourites. Jacob, is that a worry for you, and that the burnout and the mental burnout?
A little bit. I think the Saliba thing is looking like it's going to be about 2.5 months. They've said no surgery, expected back late October. Because of that big fat international break in September, he should only miss about 6 games, which is big, because I actually think he's our best player. I think if there's one Arsenal player who you could actually say go around any team in the world, he starts in his own position, it's Saliba, more so than any other player. The Gyökeres thing, you know what I think of him. I think he's awful. I don't think he ever displaced Havertz. I think Havertz was just injured. Every time Havertz was fit, Champions League final, game of the Etihad, Havertz starts. I think the big thing for Arsenal this season is going to be if Ødegaard, Saka and Havertz are fit. They're still the 3 best attackers at the club. You saw them in the Community Shield on Sunday. Ødegaard's one of the best players in Europe if he's fit. He hasn't been fit for 2 years. The amount of Arsenal fans that have scapegoated him, they haven't done it with Saka for some reason, who's been injured the same amount of time, who's been poor the same amount of time. Ødegaard gets a kick in from everyone. If those 3 stay fit, Arsenal should have enough to win the Premier League. They still need to do some work. I think you need to cover that Saliba injury just in case it is for longer. We've also got important games at the start of the season. We have to go to Villa. We host Chelsea. We've got to have something now. I don't think we can do it with Mosquera. Ben White is probably going to play right back. Timber's still not fit. Arsenal need a left winger. That's the simple thing. And they haven't done it. I mean, the weird thing is I still back us to win the Premier League next season. I also think the sporting director should be hounded out of the club. I think he's been a disgrace.
Really? Oh, you don't like him?
I think he's been a disgrace. I think the way he's approached this summer transfer window, having just won the league. And bear in mind, back in 2004 when we won the league, the big thing was strengthen. Go on and have a dynasty. We didn't do it, right? this time, learn from those mistakes. I love the Bruno signing. I think if you want to make sure that people aren't complacent, get in a player like Bruno Guimaraes, who's one of the best midfielders in Europe, in my opinion, who wants to win titles. He's a leader. He's a captain.
Yeah.
But what the fuck are we doing in attack?
You expected more, right?
They wanted Morgan Rogers. They found out the price for Morgan Rogers. They said they weren't going to do it. They find out Vinny might be available. They spend 2 weeks chasing Vinny. They don't get Vinny. Now, what are they trying to do now? There's rumours they're going for Yildiz from Juve. They don't want to sell him, so they might not do it.
He's injured. Yeah, he's injured.
So what are they doing? How was their plan to come into the window, try for Rogers, not afford him, and then shrug their shoulders?
He was your number one target as well. That's the killer. When you're the champions and you've got plenty of money, you don't let the number one target slip.
It's insane.
Not to a team that finished 10th. That doesn't make sense.
But how did they not know the price, Brian? How did they do no work in the spring to say, what would Villa sell him for? Who else is interested?
No, but we have to be honest and say this summer hasn't been normal. As soon as we saw Gordon go for 70 M's, and then the Man City.
Plus 10, thank you very much.
There you go, like everything.
But then you've got to
mental.
adapt. You've got to adapt. We've got all the money in the world. We've got new deals with Adidas, new deals with Emirates. They're now trying to sell players behind their backs to Turkey. They're trying to get Martinelli off to Turkey. They're trying to get rid of Ethan Nwaneri. Like, our record sale is still Oxlade-Chamberlain at 33 million quid.
That is mad.
Honestly, the appraisal of Mikel Arteta, please, next season, if the football looks shit, please try and remember that we get our recruitment wrong every single summer, and somehow he coaches his way out of it. I still think we win the league, Brian, but honestly, I think this summer has been a disgrace from the execs.
I think that's a hell of a summary. We'll move through the predictions now, lads. Joey, where do you got Arsenal? Did you say second?
Yeah, I've got them in second.
KG?
I think I have them first, but I think Arsenal concede a lot of goals this season. Like they were brilliant in defense last season. I think they're just going to concede more. That's the only thing. Even preseason, I'm watching them, and yes, preseason, but I just feel like they're weaker defensively. Like they had that lovely Chelsea record that I was trying to chase down before, and then obviously it went awry. But
that might be the difference, though, right? Because it was Arsenal's defence that won them that title more than anything, Absolutely. In my opinion. Josh, where you got them?
I've got them first. I do think they will be above a lot of, I think there'll be a gap between first and second this year. And I just think it will be the defence that ends up, winning them the league again. I think that midfield is super solid. And I think they'll nick goals here and there, even with the changes in the set pieces.
I have to agree. I think the consistency of just not changing a manager, not having a massive squad overhaul, inputting Bruno, it's just very nice for them compared to the level of change that other people are going through. And I think that's going to be enough for them to get top. Let's move on to the relegation. We'll do this one quickly because we really tucked into that.
So, Brian, can I just quickly say, while we're doing top six, I know you want to move on. There's literally breaking news as we're talking that Villa have agreed a fee with Saudi Arabia for Ollie Watkins. So everyone who had Villa in their top six, maybe time to reconsider.
No, Nicholas Jackson probably go there.
No, knowing Newcastle's look, they'll give them a fucking fortune as well. And we haven't sold a player to Saudi since fucking St. Maximin. Right, relegation. Is anyone picking any teams outside of the three that are coming up to go down? That's the maker here. All right, you shout me out because I'm expecting you shout me out who you got.
Newcastle. Newcastle to be relegated. Newcastle going down. Too much has happened at Newcastle. It's gone to shit. And I'm so happy to be here in this way because you've been giving it a biggin for years. You've been talking about, I remember the takeover. I remember how excited you was. I remember you talking about your striker, this, that, and the other. And no one wants to be in Newcastle. Not even COVID. Nothing wants to be there. Bro, I'm telling you right now, your team, Tonali wants out. Joe Linton wants to go to any team in Saudi. Any team. Do you know how
I'm happy for that.
Bro, you're talking about Bruno G wants out. Lewis Hall wants out. He just can't say it. He's just afraid. Yeah.
Newcastle
it's a disgrace. The way you acted about Isak and you did it again, basically. Forced players, but like they don't want to be there. And even the fact that you can't even blame Eddie Howe anymore. Fantastic.
Then I can't because he's left the squad in a fucking pile of shit, hasn't he? So I still blame him. Thank you very much.
Go. But yeah, you're getting down. You're getting down.
All right, fair enough. Okay. Anyone else got a current Premier League side?
I've got Brentford.
Interesting.
Do you know what? Everyone's talking about Fulham. Everyone's talking about Crystal Palace. And for some reason, I think that ultimately, again, like I'm kind of not wanting to be boring with it and just putting everyone down. And I think if there's one team that can stay up, I hope and back it to be Coventry under Frank Lampard. I think he's the most experienced manager out of any of them that has come up. I think Coventry looked the best out of all the teams there, and they've made some smart signings. But with Brentford, I predicted them to go down last season, and I was made to look like an absolute fool there. 40% of their goals came from Thiago. So if he gets injured, and I know it's a big if, but if he gets injured, which is enhanced by the fact that they've got European football, then I start to look at it and go, where do the goals come from? I also think, like, listen, we've said about it, losing Jordan Henderson might be a big thing on the changing room. I don't think it'll be massive on the pitch. And Keith Andrews, like, he did very well in his first season, completely surpassed expectation. But I looked at them towards the end of the season, and this is when you speak about legs starting to run out, which could play a factor if they're in Europe. Looked at them towards the end of the season. I didn't think Brentford were good at all. I think they had one win in their last 10 games, and that was against West Ham that got relegated. So is it a bit of a stretch? Of course it is. But I actually think that when you're hearing names like Fulham and Palace thrown in the hat to go down, I would look at Brentford with European football and put them.
Anyone else?
I've got one that's going to cheer you up.
Don't
I think
try.
Sunderland. I think it might be
No
Sunderland.
chance.
You know what?
He's always known football, Jacob, you know.
I think, well, I was another one who tipped Brentford to go down last year, so don't worry what I'm fucking saying. Look, Europa League, that's fucking tough. That's tough to do that. Second season in the Premier League. I also have a funny feeling someone might try and get Brian Brobby off of them before the end of this window or in
I fucking
January.
hope so. He's a fucking nightmare every time we play against them.
So I think there's a chance. I think a few people will say this. I think Fulham might go down. I think that's an insane managerial acquisition in our blood. But yeah, I think Sunderland might really struggle with Europe, and that second season syndrome might hit them hard.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? Anyone?
I've unfortunately, these guys have taken my thunder. I think Arbeloa is one of the worst managerial appointments in a long time in the Premier League. He's coming in to replace Marco Silva, who is a completely underrated manager and has done wonderful things at Fulham for a very long time. You look at the squad that they have, I think they're going to really struggle. They've tried to replace, established Premier League players with these young sort of players from Real Madrid, and I think they're going to get completely found out. So I can see them going down.
Though.
My out there prediction for the relegation one is that I reckon Hull do beat Derby's record of lowest points.
Interesting. I kind of was looking at Palace. I'll be honest. I think we're all kind of looking at Coventry, thinking big Frank Lampard might actually pull off the relegation battle and win. Is that what you all thinking as well?
I've got him getting down. I've got him getting
really?
down.
Who you got staying up then? The bottom three? Who came up?
My bottom three is I'm looking at Newcastle, I'm looking at Coventry and Hull getting down.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see if that's fucking
move on from that one.
For Golden Boot, got anyone other than Erling Haaland at this point? Who you got? João Pedro?
João Pedro gets in. He's going to do it. He's going to score many goals this year.
If you stick João Pedro on penalties, then there's a chance. Yeah. I don't think they're going to take Cole Palmer off of penalties, but if you stick him on penalties, then there is a good, there is a good chance there. You'd still back Erling Haaland, but I think that João Pedro is going to be the man closest to him.
Even if we don't replace Cole Palmer with penalties, the football that Man City are about to go under, the managerial conditions that they're going to have to subject themselves to the 5 or 10 fans they actually have left, they are going to really struggle with that this year. And Erling Haaland is going to be so annoyed, he's going to be begging for that move to Real Madrid by the end of the season.
Anyone got Isak?
I got Isak. That's his Isak is
you've got Isak Golden Boot and Newcastle going down. That would really be my worst nightmare, wouldn't it?
At this point.
Yeah. I wasn't even trying to take the piss there, though. I just think Isak back in the fit again. I think he'll just be dangerous. I think Liverpool still score good goals. As you lot said about the manager Areola, he's good, but I just think that defensively is where they'll let themselves down. Isak for the goal.
I'm fascinated to see if Isak can rediscover the form, because you know what? You're really looking at, it's got to be now, hasn't it? Like a £125 million signing. It's now or never, because if he looks shit again this season, for me, that Isak that we've seen at Newcastle is gone forever. That they'll never. We either see it now or it's never coming back, in my opinion. So the massive pressure on him on Wirtz. Speaking of Wirtz, anyone got him for top assists? Who you got for the top assists, boys? Is it Bruno Fernandes across the board or what?
Bruno
Odegaard.
Fernandes.
Odegaard.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Really?
I think he's back. Great World Cup. Do you remember when they knocked Brazil out? I think it was Ancelotti, Vinny Jr. and Bruno G who all said that Odegaard was best player on the pitch. I think Odegaard's coming back this year and I think he's taken the assist record.
Turkey, if Man City do well, but I don't perceive them to do well. But I'd go with Bruno.
Yeah, with Bruno being 32 and having to do more legwork, maybe Turkey might take the mantle next season. I think that's a decent shout. In terms of the player of the season, this is a really interesting one for me. Jacob, who you got?
I'm going to go Odegaard again.
Wow.
I think he's back.
Wow,
I think he's better. Mate, 2 years ago, that
you were
wasn't
really
a
not
crazy
pleased
shout.
with him last season.
I
You
know,
were really
I
slagging him off.
because
Do
I've
you think
got
he's
high
gonna play
standards
enough?
for him.
Do you think he's going to play 38 games?
Yeah, well, who else would play? He's our captain.
As in, just do you think he's going to be fit enough?
I'm hoping. Look, a lot of the injuries he had last season were contact injuries. He did his shoulder twice. He's been nursing an ankle problem for 18 months.
We don't need his life story, man. I just want to know.
What I'm saying is, it's not like he's got hamstrings made out of paper and then just going to keep going. Look, 2 years ago, I think all of us would have said he's the heir to De Bruyne's throne as the best creative midfielder in the league. If he's back, and I hope he is, and Arsenal have a more fluid attack because the fat man in jeans isn't playing up top, I think Arsenal will have the best player in the league in Martin Odegaard.
Josh, who you got?
It's definitely going to go to an Arsenal player because they will win the league. I've gone for Rice, personally.
Wow. Joey?
João Pedro. I'm sorry for Chelsea bias, but I have to go with him. I think he's been absolutely unreal. I think he's going to have the bit between his teeth and he will start every single game. So,
do you know that not going to the World Cup for Brazil, I bet you that's put a fucking fire under this boy as
people
well.
don't read into pre-season, but look, if anyone's watched Chelsea, look at the way this boy is playing. He is unbelievable. He's
a quality footballer. No one disputes that for sure. KJ, who you got?
Bruno Fernandes. I think he breaks his own record. I think he breaks this record again.
Wow.
Like just clear this time. I think we got better players. I think he's dangerous. I think we have to win something though for it to be like, probably needed like a cheeky FA Cup in there. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes, better season.
I think you're right in that it's going to be a Bruno, but I think it's Bruno Guimaraes. I think that he has gone so under the radar at Newcastle that people think he's a good player and not a great player. And I think next season is where people will see just how great he can be. As long as he stays injury free, I think the impact he'll have for Arsenal, goals and assist wise, is going to surprise people a lot. And then the metal in midfield, he's going to be the all rounder. He's going to be insanely good, and unless he gets injured, which I don't know if I would be depressed about because it might be a bit of a relief. Young player of the season. Any shouts, lads? Any shouts?
Yes, Brian Maggio.
He does look good. If he can stay fit, especially now that they're getting rid of Ollie Watkins, he's going to get game time.
This is what I'm thinking.
He's a freak, man.
It was more, as you said about Ollie Watkins there, I'm thinking, okay,
17 years
him
old,
and Manzambi are going to get minutes. Surely, I think that he's going to come in there. I'm believing that Aston Villa are going to have a good season. So with all that in the recipe, I think that he could be a good shout for it.
Anyone? Sorry, Josh, you go.
So I had Rio because Liverpool ain't done no business. So I imagine he's going to start a lot of games, Rio in Gamoa. I think that
he's definitely a contender, isn't he? Like he's class, isn't he?
If he gets time to play, I know he's dangerous. I think if he's given the mantle, then who knows? I think it's on him, innit?
Josh?
I'm going to go for Ryan at Bournemouth. I think he's going to have a complete breakout year, and I think he's going to go for 100 million plus next summer. I think he's going to get a huge move, probably to Man City.
Is he young enough to be a young player? How old is he?
I think he's 20.
If you're under 23, I think
23 and under is the age. Jacob, who you got?
I know I'm doing Arsenal stuff, but I've got to do Max Dowman. Like, I think he's going to get into the England squad.
Is he going to have enough game time to really nail the goals and assists in the input, though?
I think when you're that good, you just move people out of the way. I think I was really disappointed to see Noni Madueke start in the Community Shield, and I thought he was crap, as he was crap at the World Cup as well. I think this kid is good enough that he's just going to move people out of the way. And he's turning 17 this season. And when you think about those real, like, top talents, Lamine Yamal, players like that, Cesc Fabregas, by the time they turn 17, they just start starting games. They're just too good not to. And I think Dalman is that level. Yeah, I think he'll be young player of the season.
I'm going to give an honourable mention then to two Newcastle players who might have a shout in. Torre, who we've signed on the left wing. And my favourite Newcastle player is Sean Sturr, who is a wonderful midfielder. He can do it all. On the ball, he's better than Tonali. He's 18 years old. And I'm not even exaggerating. It's not even close. Like, I'm looking at this kid going, how long before he's at Barcelona or Real Madrid? Because he can dictate a football match at 18 like no one I've ever seen. But he's not going to get the highlight moments. And usually that's kind of what, he'll be the pass before the goal or whatever. I'm going to go for Rio at Liverpool. I think he's a quality footballer and he's going to show it big time. Manager of the season, I imagine this is reflecting of who wins the league anyway.
I could give you one that won't come anywhere near winning the league.
Go on then.
Glasner. I think that if you look at the back three that Forest are going to have, they brought in the lad from Sporting, Diamande, and obviously they're going to chuck him in there with Murillo, Milenkovic. I think that they're going to, like, no European football also, which they did have in seasons gone by. I think they'll have a really good season. I know that under Marinakis, anything can happen. But at the same time, I think Chelsea fans look at Marinakis and go, we quite like him. We don't mind a trigger-happy owner, to be honest. At least he's got that passion to win. I think Forest are going to have a good season. And therefore, like, you know, when you look at, there's always that thing you could put, Arteta would probably get it if he wins the league. Maresca, can you really give a manager of the season someone that spent that amount of money? Even Xabi Alonso will have spent a lot of money. If he takes him from 10th up to 2nd, he'll probably get it. But outside of that, I think a lot of the managers are just going to kind of do what they're expected to have done. And I think that some don't really get the praise, like an Unai Emery, like he probably should do if he gets Villa into Europe. So outside of that, I look at Glasner and I think he'll be the manager that drives the team up the table the most, probably.
Could Michael Carrick get it for coming second?
If he comes second.
I don't think he would get it for coming second.
Yeah.
I don't think he would. One place up.
Being nominated. He'd probably just be in the nomination.
It's basically usually either the lad who wins the fucking league or someone who does a madness and takes a team from like 15th to like 3rd or something.
So like Regis Lebris was in the conversation last year for what he did with Sunderland. Could Frank be in that conversation if he could get, say, top 10 with Coventry?
I think so, yeah. I think that's exactly a possibility in terms of...
in the conversation.
Yeah, if he did that, that's definitely worthy of a shout. Has anyone got any other shouts?
I've gone for Keith Andrews at Brentford because I think Brentford could finish above Villa this season.
Wow.
And if they did, I think that would warrant a manager of the season.
I think, by the way, we were talking about Brentford. I think Brentford play lovely football. Like, it's just whether or not they've got
some proper players, by the way.
Yeah, and they've held on to them this year as well.
Yeah.
Like Henderson aside, they've held on to their players. They usually sell players.
That's why I'm shocked that you're saying that they're going to struggle.
It's the European football, though, isn't it? That's the real question where we're right, because you can play great football, but then when your legs are knackered after fucking midweek games, then it's a whole nother ball game.
I hate playing them.
What do we got for first sacked?
I think it's going to be Arbeloa. I really do. I just think he's going to be so found out in the Premier League. I don't think he's qualified.
Anyone else?
I could give you a shout. I think their recruitment's been really good. I think everyone's looking forward to them having a good season. So I'm going to go with Daniel Farker because if it doesn't go right, I think they get rid of him.
Some name that like.
That's a good
you know what? Rogue shout, but I think it's because of who's on the market, and I think that sometimes makes people pull a trigger quicker. David Moyes last season ended the season on a down note, and the Everton fans were not happy with him. And I tell you now, if there's ever a club I can see Eddie Howe turning up at, apparently he was a boyhood fan of Everton. I think he is perfect for them because the expectations, the fighting spirit he could bring there, and I think that actually could work really well for the club. So I think that they might reach out to him at some point. So maybe Moisey.
I think things are going to go well for them though, and that's why I wouldn't agree with that. Yeah. Their midfield now, if you go Dewsbury Hall, Norgard, and the kid from
Ghana.
Ghana as well, but the kid from Borough, Hayden Hackney. Yeah.
I agree, actually. They played us off the park the other day, so I can't really...
And Tyreek George as well. He's going to be top 5.
Dibling's playing football in pre-season.
That's what I'm saying. I think Everton are having a good season. I got him in 8.
I'm going with Matthias Jasil.
Jaisler,
yeah. Mm. Matthias, I don't think he's going to have the same, he ain't going to have the same, I'm not taking the piss. You see how that they covered Eddie Howe, yeah?
Yeah.
Watch the difference of a bad result. The media are going to decide they're not going to give him the same coverage. It's like how when you get in a manager that they don't love. You know, do
you know what we found out after Eddie left? The journalists said when Eddie first came in, he kind of like rang them up and got them on side and was being really friendly to them. We've been wondering like why they're so soft on him, the media.
It's
because
important.
he's a politician. This guy was a genius in the way he played them, because they would literally blame everyone but Eddie. And look, while we're on it, Newcastle league finish. Obviously, KG's got us in 18th. Yeah. Joey, where you got Newcastle finishing given the situation?
So when I first sort of ripped my predictions up, I had Newcastle in 8th, and then I swapped them with Everton. Now I've got them in 10th. I don't think it will go anywhere near as bad as some people, including KG, are predicting. But yeah, I think that the Newcastle recruitment strategy, you can look at some players and say they're good, but kind of looks like they're doing what Chelsea were doing up until this season. And because, this is what I'm saying. And because of that doesn't guarantee you any stability. You'll have exciting moments and you might have a few good wins, but you'll have a lot of down moments too. And I think it'll be mid-table.
Jacob?
I say like,
I think we're DJ like
14, 15. I can just think of a lot of teams that I think will finish ahead of Newcastle. I think obviously there's the top 6 there. I think Brighton, probably Bournemouth could have a tough season without Iraola, but I could just name a lot of teams I think will finish ahead. I think it's going to be a rough transition out of Howe. So many players. You think like 13 months ago, still had Isak, still had Bruno, still had Tonali, still had Gordon. Yeah, I think it's going to be lower mid-table. I don't think they'll go down, but lower mid-table.
Josh?
I've gone for 14th as well, and I honestly think, like, looking at the squad now and the manager without the experience, I actually think that would be a really good finish for Newcastle.
I actually agree with you, weirdly. I've gone 14th. I think we have got a bunch of kids in. For example, Kieran Trippier announced he was leaving the club in April. That was like 4 months ago. We've only just signed his replacement now, a week before the season starts, right?
Yeah.
Like Bruno Guimaraes told us 6 weeks ago he wanted to leave. We haven't even. There's no replacement, and like you need like 2 players to replace Bruno. Really, you need a holding midfielder. You need a number 10 because we now play with a number 10. We don't have a number 10. We're linked with Nkunku. I'm ready to blow my fucking brains out.
He's a good player though, Brian. I always rated him.
He was fucking shit for you. I watched him. He couldn't be arsed, right? And the idea of replacing Bruno with Nkunku, that's a vote of no confidence from me and everyone at the top of this football club, where I'm like, you don't know what you're doing. This is insane. He's 28 years old. The wages won't fucking be worth what you're going to get back from the lazy bastard. So, I think, we're in for it next season. However, the one thing that gives me any hope is I do like the manager in terms of the way he speaks, what he wants to do. I do like his ideas. And if he gets us even mid-table after the shitstorm that Eddie's left behind, running away like the coward he is after the fucking horrific job he did with the squad management, he will be a fucking hero if he keeps us up and just gives us some stability. That'll be enough for me. What else we got?
Wildcard predictions. Let's do a wildcard prediction. Come on.
A wildcard prediction. That means any random ass prediction you want to make just for the fuck of it. Go on, Josh.
Man City will not be charged with anything. They will completely get off. They'll get a £30 million fine, and that will be the end of it. The Premier League will write it off. That will happen this season. They won't get any points deductions.
I'm leaning that way now because we've just been waiting forever and a day. Any other wild card predictions without going over the Man City thing?
I'll go Tonali to get another betting ban.
I love it.
I love that.
I love it. Jacob, anything?
Enzo gone by Christmas.
Wow.
Right. KG?
Maresca.
Oh, I like that one. That's the wild cards. I like that one. I like that one. I'm with it. I'm with that.
I was saying for wild card, by the way, but obviously Jacob's kind of told me that that's not a wild card. But I would say Gyökeres to warm the bench and Havertz to start.
I'll go with a Tonali prediction. Spurs to realise that they've brought $100 million footballer who's really worth about 35 million, and I think they'll be really disappointed with him.
Do we think De Zerbi sees out the season at Spurs?
He's on a massive contract.
Too much money, yes.
He's on a huge contract. 5-year deal, wasn't it?
I think he'll go.
Comeback king? Anyone who can resurrect their career? Anyone?
Unfortunately,
Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. Could be Rashford.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Rashford will have a good season.
comeback like of the century. Like, he doesn't want Man United fans are feeling away about him, all sorts. Score a lot of goals, it'd be brilliant. We'll see a lot of
I'll be
this.
stunned.
It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be. He's
Not
gonna
that he
have
doesn't
a
have the
great-
talent. I just don't. It's gone so stale at Man United between him and Man United. I think when you really don't want to be there, it's really hard to get that level of motivation
Michael
required.
Carrick
It's
is
the
just
ultimate
a
comfort zone. It's a
calming-
huge problem. That
Michael
Joey, who you
Carrick
got?
is calming. He'll be fine.
I've got Nicholas Jackson. I just don't know whether it'll be at Chelsea. And I think with
I like
what
that.
we've learned
It'll be
here
Yeah.
about Ollie Watkins, I think at Villa, Nicholas Jackson leading the line for him.
Yeah, makes
I
sense,
think
doesn't
he'll be
it?
mustard.
I like that.
Anyone, Jacob?
I think Villa are going to. I think Newcastle should do this, but I don't think they will. I think Villa are going to get Grealish back, and I think he'll reignite his career.
Ooh, nice.
Josh, anything?
I've got Romeo Lavia because I think Enzo's going to go, and I think
Wow.
Romeo Lavia will actually start some games and will be fit.
Back from the dead.
Yeah.
Honestly. I guess I'll go Isak. I get Isak's got to fucking turn up, hasn't he? I mean,
He's gonna.
I'm not really that hopeful of it, but I think Isak. And last but not least, the overachiever and underachiever of the season. Any, I mean, you can pick a player or a club, really. Anything?
I've already gone with Forest for overachievers.
That's a good shout.
I'm going to stick to the original overachievers that do all the time. Aston Villa, I think they do really well. Secure
If
top
they get
four.
top 6, I think that's a really
At
good
this
season.
point, is that not like par for the course for Villa, though?
That's
Like,
not
is
fair,
that
though.
not-
They don't spend and they still do well.
Yeah,
I
but
hear
as
more
in-
people saying about what Villa have lost rather than what they've gained. So I think if we're going on narrative, I think they kind of would be overachievers. And as well, remember, there's only a couple of seasons ago they're in the Championship.
Mind you, Manzambi, he might be a young player of the year show because he looked fucking fantastic in that World Cup. Like, I mean, if he can keep that up. All right, what about underachiever then?
United.
Yeah, shout, great shout.
I like it. I like it.
I think United.
How?
Here's a little hot one. I
Go
don't
on.
think a United player scores more than 12 goals in the league.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
By the way,
Bruno is hard about
I really admire Sesko, but I think if he can stay fit, he'll be the one to do it. But
I
let's
think we'll
see,
have loads
boys.
of them. I think they'll have loads of them.
Bruno will outscore Sesko.
Wow. All right.
Bruno Fernandes.
We'll wrap it up there. Big thank you to the lads. We will be back after the first weekend of the season to discuss how badly Newcastle are doing. Because if we're playing Liverpool and we always lose against Liverpool, I'm fucking dreading it, lads. Isak coming back to St. James's for the first time. It's going to be horrible. I hope we boo him off the fucking park. Big thank you to everyone who watched. Hit the like button. Subscribe to The Kickoff. We'll see us on the next one.